Hello, everyone, and thank you for being with us as we talk about diversity in running. I'm Betsy Ross, and our guests are Karla Boldery, Cincinnati Market Manager for La Mega Media. Also with us, Erica Palmer, Black Girls Run. Thank both of you for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Before we jump into kind of the issue of growing diversity in the sport, I want to ask each of you what drew you to the sport and how you got involved in it. Erica, I'll ask you first.
Yeah, so my story it's a interesting story. So I actually had college roommates who were track runners, and that was way back in college, and it wasn't even a thought in my head of picking up this running thing. Then I got pregnant with my daughter. She's 18 years old now. And shortly after that, these same girlfriends were having babies, and their bodies were amazingly returning to the pre-pregnancy body, and mine was looking like bleh. And come to find out, it was this running thing. At that same time, the Susan G. Komen 5K was picking up. We hadn't even had 5K in our language, at least I hadn't. It was picking up and gaining traction, and I just jumped right in. And so then from that, 18 years ago, I would do that 5K race. And then every year I was building up to 3 races, 5 races. And then lo and behold, I ran into the flying pig too and just kind of lost my running mind. So 18 years later, I'm still running, still enjoying myself, and still chasing that pre-pregnancy body, I think, but that was the goal.
Oh, that's awesome. Karla, how about you?
Well, Betsy, and I'm actually, as I hear you and the purpose of this talk and Erica's story, I am so grateful that I'm here because as the opposite of Erica, I have never run a race in my whole life. Actually, my son, he's 24. And a few years before enlisting to the Marine Corps, he actually did the flying pig. And as I sat there and saw him cross the line, and I got to see the make of the people that were running, and I actually made myself this question: why are we not running? And why is it that there is not many Hispanic that I know that run? I really can think of, with the palm of my hand, people that I know of that have taken part in some race or another. So the reality of us really getting connected is in order for us to change that. Why are we not there? Why there's not enough diversity, and what we need to make to change that. I think that that's important. Probably I don't know all those answers, but I am happy to start getting some action going to make some change for that.
And Karla, that brings up a good point. If you go to the internet, you'll see so many running groups that are connected with a minority group. And you'll see all these groups and organizations and Twitter handles, but it's one thing to have a group and it's another thing to have members. So how do you get people to be part of this group? How do you draw them in to begin with? Karla, what are your thoughts on that?
I would think so. Really, most of my experience on this specific question that you have is building that community, right? It takes one person to start doing it, to then start sharing their stories, their change, their why they do it, and what does that make a difference in their life for others to follow suit. So I think that it goes like that. Even though, like I said, for me personally, I've had about like 5 or 6 people that I know that run. Still, I haven't felt that community involvement that drives others to follow. So I think that that's key. And I don't know, maybe Erica, that it's already part of a group, can tell us better.
Sure. So as I was talking about that running, so what happened for me pre-Black Girls Run, I'd show up at a Cincinnati race, and there's thousands and thousands of runners, literally. But I'd look to my left and to my right. And as you said, Karla, I wouldn't see anybody who looked like me. right? And I'm like, this is such a great time. Why is it that I'm the only Black woman here at this race, or one of 3 out of thousands? And so then someone asked me, or got me introduced to Black Girls Run. And slowly but surely, you know, our Cincinnati community would start to grow, but literally it would just be handfuls of us, maybe 1 to 5 of us. This is a national organization, and we have a national conference. And we went to the first national conference, and it was in Atlanta. And at that race, there was thousands, at least 1,000 Black women. And it just really kind of warmed my heart. It renewed my love of running. And I'm like, yeah. And we had everyone of all paces, all abilities. So there were women who were running the 5K in under 20 minutes, right? Amazing, right? All the way to just those who were out there just to get across the line to finish. And it was such a good vibe. So I keep that in my heart, and I brought that back to Cincinnati. And what I do is every week through Black Girls Run, we have a Facebook membership of about 3,000. Yes, so that's a big number.
Wow.
And I invite those ladies to come out to a weekly run with me. And sometimes I may get 2. On a good day, I might get 10, right? That's a wonderful day, but those numbers are really different than those who are on that page. So every day I ask myself, or every moment I'm asking myself, what can I do to make this a little bit more attractive? One thing is just staying consistent. So I'm going to invite those ladies next week, the week after that, the week after that. So keep inviting them out to join me on the run.
That's a really good point. And I think that no matter what we're talking about, if we're talking about running, if we're talking about sports, if we're talking about education, if we're talking about a career, I think that when someone sees someone who looks like them doing it, then it becomes a possibility for them to do it, because there's something out there.
Oh, great.
Is it something that you have to install in kids? Do you have to go back to grade school and try to get them involved in the sport? Erica, what do you think?
I think so, because remember, for me, it was the memory of those college roommates who were runners, right? So it is. Another organization that's near and dear to my heart is Girls on the Run. That's where they take 3rd to 8th grade girls and introduce them to running. And I'll tell you, so some of the times, and I've been a coach there for many, many years, and I've been at another race in the local community, and a young woman will come up to me and say, hey, you were my coach in 3rd grade, and we started running together, and look, I'm still running. And that just is, that's everything, right? So yes, I do. It becomes it gets you over this hurdle of, I can do this, right? Because I think that's a hurdle for a woman who's, I think when we get older, activity becomes, you know, a little bit more of back on the lower priority, right? So if it was something you were doing as a girl, as a young girl, then it's going to stay with you. It's going to stay in there, and you're going to turn back to it, I think, as you get older. Yeah.
Karla, how do we get kids involved in running?
Oh my God. You know, and I was just going to retake a little bit on Erica's point and tie it to a previous point that she mentioned, that it's important to me. So many people might be scared, right? I remember that day I sat there to see my son running. I thought I could never do this. This is just for the pros. This is for the people that have done this forever. This is not for me. And little do you know that there are different paces, people that do it in different ways, but you just don't know what you don't know. So, you know, and back to your point, Betsy, bringing it up as part of a habit in everyday's life is really important. I can tell you my perspective as an immigrant, right? So I actually came to this country 20 years ago. In Mexico, where I was born, only professional people run, right? I mean, I lived in Mexico City, where everything that you turn around is city and people and cars, and you do not see anybody running. So it is something that it was definitely not a part of my make. And that as I see my kids being part of their lives, it's kind of been part of my life too. I'm growing into that. So, you know, I truly believe that if you start early, you make it just such a part of you that you don't even have to think that it's a different activity that you need extra time to get done, right? It's like you know, you get your coffee, you know, you get your breakfast, you know, you get your exercise. If you were set into that, you know, train of thought every day, it would be just so easy. Like how you said, Betsy, it's just about how a guy says, "Oh no, I just need, you know, some exercise. See ya."
Well, I think that over the last few weeks and few months, we have seen the disparity in health, wellness, healthcare among minority groups. So how do you work running into that conversation of better health and thinking about your own personal wellness and your family's wellness? Where does running come in that conversation, Erica?
Yeah, so I'm with Karla. I mean, the intimidation of thinking I'm not an athlete, I can't run a marathon is real, right? So that is so real. So I tell everybody, start with one step, right? Just takes one step. And I love our running community because we didn't have one step turns into 1 mile. 1 mile turns into that 5K. And I tell you, if they're like me, then that next thing is they're like, hey, if I've done a 5K, I can do a 10K. That's just 2 5Ks. And so that slow, one step at a time takes hold. It takes hold. And I don't know, I think the running endorphins kick in and you just keep pursuing that next distance, right? So it's just that. It's meeting people right where they are. It's actually also not shaming people. Being okay wherever you are is wherever you are. You walk that 5K, that's okay for today. But just staying consistent and just being committed, right? And just saying, hey, I'm going to keep one step in front of the other, keep going.
And Karla, how do we kind of spread that word that this is part of your health journey and your family's health journey? How can we kind of preach running, walking as part of your overall community's health?
Well, I would say back to what Erica says. Just keep at it, right? Keep on reinforcing the message, reinforcing this type of community connections, right? We want to be connected. We want to keep hearing why it's important to do it. We want to keep, you know, thinking that it will be okay, because the same way I can tell you that was probably over 5 years ago that I saw my son run. I still have not run a race, but I am getting closer to actually thinking, because now exercise is part of my life. I feel less intimidated. I'm like, well, maybe I should try it now. And you know, it's just it's how Erica mentioned. It's like, okay, let's take one step and let's recognize that we got to do something. And that's why I feel so excited that we are here, that we are getting connected to the races, that we have realized that the problem is there. Now, what do we need to do? We need to keep telling people. We need to, you know, continue build those community connections so that they can get integrated to this new habit.
Now, when you do that first 5K, you have to tell us.
I will. I
we
promise.
can be there.
I'm hoping that you put the Queen Bee on your calendar. Queen Bee 2021. I'm going to be looking for you, Karla.
Okay.
Yes, it's a year away. A whole year away. Yes.
I think I'm just going to say it now. I'm going to do it.
Yay.
And I always do what I say I'm going to do, so I will be there.
Right.
You know, there's a 4-miler as well as
yes.
a half marathon. So
it's a perfect running day for our ladies in the running community. That Queen Bee is a perfect running day. So that's the one I would say, put on your calendar.
Will do.
And be a queen for the day.
Yes.
There you go. There you go.
Well, as we wrap up, I just want to get some personal thoughts from you about what running and the sport has meant to you, Karla. I know that now we've put it out there. You're gonna do it. But obviously something tripped your trigger when you saw your son doing it. There was something about that sport that intrigued you when you saw your family members doing it.
And I'm trying to trace back to the series of events that have happened for me now to be sitting here talking to you and putting myself out there next year to actually run it. You know, from seeing him to seeing the 3 or 4 people that I know that run every year in every race. Actually, one of them is one of my mentors. She is 76 years old, and she continues to run every year the 10K. And she always gets to the first 3 people that do it, which I am always like amazed at her. She's amazing. And I always say, you know, I want to be like you when I'm 76, definitely. And you know, to somebody in my office saying, hey, how about we connect with the races and the flying pig? Let's really integrate the community now that you're working here in the radio. So as you see, it has been a series of events that can make change happen. So I'm just really excited. I will definitely, you know, send you information and send you my whole, you know, take on when I do the race or if I do anything before that. And I definitely will send my picture with my mentor that's 76 and has run, because it will be great.
That is awesome to have somebody like that you can follow. And yes, when I'm 76 years old, I hope I'm doing 10Ks as well.
Me too.
Oh, really? Erica, when you talked about running at the beginning of this, I mean, your face lit up. It's obviously something that really speaks to your soul and that you've been doing it for almost 20 years now. What has it meant personally for you, the sport of running?
You know, I think it's in that achievement. So to set out for, let me just talk about Flying Pig then. We start January, usually Martin Luther King weekend. It is cold in Cincinnati at that time. And we are thinking of that first weekend in May. So that commitment, it gives me that opportunity to put it all out there, to wrench myself completely thin, right? And then when I somehow cross that finish line, I say, oh, wow, it was in there. And I don't know many other things in life that really kind of pull that out of you, right? It's just that inspiring. I tell you something else that inspires me too is when I see a new runner, a new Black lady runner who comes to us for the first time. And she's like, you know, I'm not sure. They almost reluctantly get out of the car with their running shoes on, but then they catch hold, right? And then they see their health improve, they feel better, they start to look better. Those jeans are kind of fitting a little bit better. And then finally she gets a couple of races under her belt, and it's all about the bling from there. Those medals and those achievements start to accumulate, and it just fills you up. So I just love running for those reasons. And I could probably go on and on with more reasons. But I know we have a limited time.
I will send you my picture of my face. That will be the new person running.
Karla, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome.
I cannot wait for that. Karla Boldery from La Mega Media, Erica Palmer from Black Girls Run. You have so much insight and some really great wisdom on how to make this sport more diverse. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck in training, and best of luck in running. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Erica. Nice to meet you.
You too.